Coming up on Global Business, we bring you the latest on Chinese President Xi Jinping's state visit to Russia and his talks with Russian leaders. In our Shared Future series, we look at China's supply chain building and how it involves the Belt and Road Initiative. And we take you to the southern Chinese city of Quanzhou to find out how the city is exploring ways to monetize its pear blossom season. Hello and welcome to this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Lily Lu in Beijing. We begin our show with Chinese President Xi Jinping's state visit to Russia. She just attended a welcoming ceremony held in the Kremlin. Earlier on Tuesday, Xi has met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and that was the two leaders' 41st meeting in person since Xi took office as the Chinese president in 2013. The two presidents hailed close exchanges over the past decade and said that both countries are committed to realizing national rejuvenation and supporting a multipolar world. Xi Jinping arrived in Russia on Monday. His plane arrived at the Moscow Vnukovo Airport around 1 p.m. local time. He was warmly greeted by Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Chernyshenko and senior Russian officials. A welcome ceremony was held at the airport upon his arrival. Xi inspected the honor guard of the three services and watched march past. He also delivered an arrival statement during the ceremony, and he stressed that China and Russia are friendly neighbors and have established a solid relationship. He said the friendly relations has brought tangible benefits to the people of the two countries and made important contributions to the development of the world. He added that China would continue to work with Russia to safeguard the international order, uphold true multilateralism, promote greater democracy in international relations, and help to achieve more just and equitable global governance. Zhang Dan has more details.
During their meeting at the Kremlin, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin had an in-depth and candid exchange on bilateral relations and issues of mutual interest. The two presidents held close exchanges over the past decade. They said both countries are committed to realizing national development and rejuvenation, support world multipolarity, and work for greater democracy in international relations. President Xi spoke highly of China-Russia relations, saying the two nations are each other's biggest neighbor and comprehensive strategic partner of coordination. Xi told Putin that China is firm in strengthening strategic coordination with Russia. The Chinese president also said the two countries should further deepen practical cooperation in various fields, as well as strengthen coordination and collaboration on multilateral platforms. President Putin extended a warm welcome to Xi. The Russian president acknowledged the fruitful results of bilateral relations in recent years and voiced to continue to deepen practical cooperation. The two leaders also exchanged views on the Ukraine conflict. Xi Jinping reiterated China's position, promising more constructive efforts in promoting a political settlement through dialogue and negotiation. The Chinese president also rejected the Cold War mentality and unilateral sanctions. Putin said that Russia appreciates China for consistently upholding an impartial, objective, and balanced position and standing for fairness and justice on major international issues. Putin said Russia has carefully studied China's position paper and is open to talks for peace. He said Russia welcomes China to play a constructive role in this regard. Also during Xi's visit, the two presidents are expected to draw up a new blueprint for a bilateral comprehensive strategic partnership of coordination. Zhang Dan, CGTN.
Chinese President Xi Jinping said earlier that China is ready to work with Russia to forge closer partnership in energy cooperation. Energy cooperation between the two sides is a positive force for maintaining global energy security. Last year, trade with Russia accounted for about 3% of China's total imports and exports and reached a new high of 1.28 trillion yuan. Exports to Russia stood at 512 billion yuan, that is up 12% on a yearly basis. Goods exported from China to Russia were mostly clothing, smartphones, and automobiles. China's imports from Russia in 2022 rose by 40% from a year ago. Nearly 70% rather, of some of the 767 billion yuan worth of imports were energy products. Russian Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs has members from various fields such as energy, finance, construction, chemical industry, and even food industry. Well, the member enterprises of Russian Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs contribute to about 60% of Russia's GDP. Our reporter Hou Jing talked to one of the union's managing directors for his views on bilateral ties between China and Russia. Take a listen.
So what is your expectation of this visit's impact on business and trade relations?
I'd like to say that our companies, they suppose that the visit of President Xi will contribute to the further improvement of our relationships, because we have reached significant success last year under the leadership of President Xi, and we suppose that the further road will be the road forward. For sure, the international environment today is not as conducive as it should be for, well, to tell the truth, for both of our countries. And we suppose that this visit will put them, the next mile forward. We suppose. And to tell the truth, we suppose that many of interesting opportunities are also connected with the cooperation between, not only between Russian Federation and China, but also between China and Eurasian Economic Union.
And in what areas do you see new opportunities for business cooperation between the two sides?
I need to mention, for sure, the food security and supply of food, various food and beverages. For sure, the commodities in different spheres, not just oil and gas, but also other rare earths. We need to think more about our own regional value chains, including Russia, including China, and our neighbors in the greater Eurasia. They have intentions to increase their own economic sustainability and resilience, and for sure, everyone understands that in the very uncertain international environment, we need to think more about the cooperation with our neighbors. And for sure, in case we can enrich each other, make our advantages more effective, and make our economies more resilient and sustainable.
Large transportation and logistics centers are playing vital roles in boosting bilateral trade between China and Russia. A railway hub facilitating Russian food exports to China opened ahead of the schedule last December in the eastern Russian city of Zabaykaye under the order of Russian President Vladimir Putin. While the hub helped to shorten the time for Russian food exports to reach China, shipments reached China in just 15 days compared with 3 months by water. Russia's Berylas logistics hub in the suburbs of Moscow is a joint project of the two countries, put into operation since 2019, and has been an important hub for China-Europe freight network, linking 22 Chinese cities. And another big transportation and logistics hub is currently under construction in the Chinese city of Heihe, near the first cross-border bridge between the two countries. The hub, in terms of both land and rail, is set to bring more vitality to bilateral trade. And earlier, my colleague Kate Gui interviewed Vitaly Menkevich, chairman of the Russian Asia Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs, to discuss the current state and future development of the economic and trade relations between China and Russia. He said that the Russian business community is eagerly anticipating the meeting between the leaders of the two countries and believes that this visit will certainly boost economic and trade cooperation between the two nations.
We hold great expectations for the upcoming meeting between the leaders of both parties. We believe it will bring about more positive developments, especially in the cooperation between Russia and China. Strategic decisions will be made to facilitate collaboration between our companies, which will help us better avoid sanctions from the West and ensure that Chinese companies are not affected by such measures. Overall, we are confident that this leadership summit will significantly promote cooperation among our companies.
What are the key areas that we can strengthen cooperation going forward in your view?
In my view, the main priority for cooperation between Russia and China lies in the supply of oil and gas resources from Russia to China. Russia can quickly provide these products to China. The second priority is to encourage greater investment from China oil and gas area. The third priority for cooperation, in my opinion, is in the high-tech sector, which has vast potential. I believe that Chinese enterprises and partners can quickly fill the huge void left by Western companies exiting the Russian market. This area also has great potential. Another important direction is agricultural industry cooperation between Russia and China. Russia can provide more agricultural products to the Chinese market, including grains, rapeseed, and corn, among others, which has great potential. One area for improvement is logistics, including the construction of highways for transportation, improving clearance capabilities at ports, expanding logistics channels and pathways, and modernizing ports.
How important is China market to you, and how do you position China market when you do your business?
I believe that the Chinese market is the #1 market for Russian companies. The vast Chinese market presents a great prospect for Russia. For a long time, China has been Russia's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching almost $197 billion last year, close to the $200 billion target. According to our projections, this year, bilateral trade between China and Russia is expected to exceed $250 to $260 billion. From a strategic perspective, as I mentioned earlier, we can supply each other with products, including agricultural products, oil and gas products, and related production. We can also engage in joint research and development and market our products in China. President Xi Jinping attaches great importance to developing the Chinese market, and his proposal to hold import-export in Shanghai provides an excellent platform for Russian entrepreneurs to participate. In addition, the Canton Fair, which will be held in April this year, is also an excellent platform for us to better understand the Chinese market. These trade shows are not only of interest to Russian entrepreneurs, but also to entrepreneurs worldwide. China is a leader in the global economy and has emerged from the pandemic, opening up even broader opportunities.
And now to learn more about the trade cooperation between the two countries, our reporter Zhu is at the Yabao Road Business District in Beijing. Now that area is known as a hub for commodity exchanges between China and Russia.
Blankets, shoes, smartphones. You can find many items for daily use here. Russian logos are prominent everywhere, and many foreigners are shopping till they drop.
Well, don't you feel like walking in a foreign market? But here is Yabao Road Business District, right here in Beijing.
I got and smartwatch and other things like speaker and a small bag also. I know it from my friend. They recommend me to come here because have a lot of product that I want.
Back in the 1990s, Yabao Road was next to one of the few hotels for foreign guests and was close to the embassy of Russia. Since then, the road has become a popular place for Russian and Chinese commodity exchanges.
Очень дорого.
Most of business owners have learned some simple Russian for selling and bargaining, so it is easier to communicate with them. Now, with the COVID-19 restrictions loosened, especially during weekends, you can see many Russians shopping here.
Are you from Russia?
Yeah.
I came from Russia. I shop here very often. The prices are cheaper than in our country.
Apart from daily necessities, items related to Chinese traditional culture, such as gadgets and Chinese tea, are also welcomed by Russian people.
It's great. You can taste some tea. Right now I'm drinking the best Longjing tea from Hangzhou. It's a fresh tea, and this is a really good experience for me. And I buy and give some to my family, my friends.
The robust Yabao Road Business District is an epitome of the surging China-Russia trade. Data from the General Administration of Customs shows that trade between the two countries reached nearly $200 billion last year, a record high and up nearly 30% on a yearly basis. Zhu, CGTN, Beijing.
And still to come here on Global Business. We take you to the southern Chinese city of Quanzhou to find out how the city is exploring ways to monetize its pear blossom season.
The global economy as we know it sits at a critical juncture. An uncertain world facing unprecedented challenges. In times like these, solidarity, cooperation, and ensuring development are paramount. For over 2 decades, leaders from across the region and around the world have gathered at the Boao Forum for Asia to discuss the most pressing issues of our time and forge partnerships. Join CGTN as we bring you the latest insights, interviews, and analysis from this year's event. Our special coverage begins on March 27th, only on CGTN.
Welcome back. China is now the world's #1 manufacturer, but can it remain competitive going forward? Answers from experts with the Ministry of Commerce is yes, and they added that other countries can benefit from that too. The experts pointed out that in 2022, a report that China is the only economy in the world to have all 41 industrial divisions. The country also led the world industrial value added over the past 12 years and has been a top supplier of over 200 products, including personal computers and smartphones. Not just the scale, China is also far ahead in terms of labor productivity when compared with other developing countries, something that still appeals to overseas investors. Now, with digital transformation, a vast market, and continued opening up, experts believe that China will keep playing a vital role in global supply chain. China's high-tech industrial products are gaining international popularity despite economic challenges brought about by the pandemic. That has provided significant fuel for China's industrial growth too. Reporter Zhang Shixuan has more.
Handling more than 80% of all international trading goods, sea freight routes are the lifeline of the world economy, and ports around the world are its heart. Keeping these hearts beating are the trucks that move the freight to and from the docks. At this port in Thailand, these self-driving electric trucks have transported almost 235,000 20-foot equivalent containers.
While these trucks are running and playing an important role in foreign countries' trade, it's worth remembering that they all came from here, this Shanghai-based tech firm with more than 300 R&D staff, which was just established in 2015.
The first batch of the company's automated container trucks were exported to Thailand in April 2020, when many countries around the world were challenged by COVID outbreaks, and so was the supply chain. It wasn't just a matter of putting wheels on trucks. They also had to design the system to run them.
Our total solutions include the trucks, so we had to deal with challenges to part supplies. Right from the R&D stage, we have prepared as many backup components as possible. We developed a variety of options on the production and supply sides to ensure the export of our products. And we also developed a large number of remote delivery arrangement tools and a system of remote upgrades.
So far, the company has exported its smart truck transport solutions to 120 clients in 16 countries and regions. And the Smart China tech is not only on the road, it's also in the air, with cutting-edge developments that go by the name of eVTOL, or electric vertical takeoff and landing.
The first time I came here was actually 2 years ago when I saw this model made for industrial use. But now, as you can see here, there are many eVTOL models developed during the outbreak in the last year and a half. And the brand new passenger eVTOL is even going to fly in other countries later this year.
3 weeks ago, the tech firm broke the world record with its brand new passenger model, completing the longest fully electric aircraft flight on a single charge, 250.3 kilometers. With more than 95% of its components made domestically, a stable supply chain has been an important part of the company's success.
In the Yangtze Delta area, actually this capacity for the supply chain has been really helpful. And then because we have lots of small components that we can easily get access from other companies surrounding in this area. We're targeting Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe and then also US market as well. We were going to have a large existence in the US market.
With continuing work on AI and AR development for metaverse applications, tech firms have become competitive enough to provide exclusive technologies overseas. In the past 2 years, SenseTime has applied its technology to Saudi Arabia's biggest cultural and entertainment program, which builds on the Saudi Vision 2030, aiming to establish the entertainment industry as a key component of the national economy. Its exports have also been extended to smart city construction and education in a Middle East country. The changes have meant a transformation for the company as well.
Apparently, it's too different from what we are doing and what we offer in China market. The culture and the language is different. The local ecosystem is different and the way of making business is different. Unlike other typical Chinese companies going abroad in the last 2 decades, it's very challenging to sell new technologies like AI to overseas market. Therefore, we have reshaped entire portfolio and the propositions to fulfill customer need and bring a meaningful solution and a true value to our clients.
Just last week, the company announced a collaboration with the major media group in Thailand to bolster the infrastructure development of that country's first metaverse platform. And now as the world eases its COVID travel precautions, each of the companies we talked to has plans for expanded international travels and communication to accelerate their footprints abroad. Zhang Shixuan, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
Let's now move on to some other global business headlines that we're tracking at the hour. Britain recorded the largest budget deficit for any February since at least 1993, when monthly records started, swelled by government spending on energy bill support programs. Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt said last week that energy subsidies would be extended until June, but they are likely to cease thereafter. South Korean exports tumbled for the first 20 days of March, and producing inflation eased last month, reinforcing expectations that the central bank would not raise interest rates further. Its exports were hurt by weaker global demand for its tech products. And investors stepped cautiously into bank stocks on Tuesday, emboldened by the rescue of Credit Suisse, with share prices tentatively rising in Europe and Asia. And the question among investors is whether the U.S. central bank's relentless rate hikes might be at an end. While in southern part of China, spring scenes are a bit different from that in Wuhan and Paris. In Dehua County in Fujian Province, it is that time of the year when the pear trees are in full blossom. While the region, which is famous for Blanc de Chine or China white porcelain, is now finding ways to monetize its 1-week-long flowering season for pear blossoms. Take a look.
A drizzle flicks the white flowers. The white and elegant pear blossoms were quoted frequently by poets in ancient China. This pear blossom landscape in Dehua was once rated as China's beautiful idyllic landscape. Spring is a beautiful season, a season of hope and vitality. I didn't expect to see such beautiful pear blossoms in Sanyong town. This is really a worthy trip. There are 17 villages in Dehua's Sanyong town, with pear trees atop the hills in all these villages. When the flowers bloom, the entire ancient town turns into a sea of beautiful white flowers. In a few days, the 4th Pear Blossom Festival in Dehua County will be held here. You can see that the pear blossom buds are swelling into good shapes now, and they will all bloom by the time of the Pear Blossom Festival. The pear blossom is quite beautiful, but the flowering period is quite short, only for a week. After the blooming season, Dehua has measures to ensure the sustainability of the pear industry. We make full use of the abundant pear blossom resources and hold the Pear Blossom Festival every spring to attract tourists from all over the world. We also conduct plucking and harvest festivals to showcase Shangyong's 4 seasons. Besides attracting 100,000 visitors every year, these events have enabled more than 800 rural households to develop relevant side industries. It is a road to prosperity by rural ecological vitalization. Fruits come after blossoms. When the pear blossoms wither, the fruits become mature. Over the years, the local government has worked with institutes in Taiwan to carry out agriculture, science, and technological exchanges and cooperation, established the Dehua Pear Scientific Research Institute in the seed preservation and breeding base, which contributed to the optimizing and enrichment of pear structure and variety. In 2022, Dehua pear was included in the National Agriculture Products of Geographical Indication Protection Project. At present, the area under Dehua pear has reached 2,466 hectares, with annual yields of nearly 30,000 tons and an output value in excess of 100 million yuan. At the same time, the local government is also encouraging surrounding townships to jointly build and share projects in multiple fields, collaborate on tourism resources in the alliance area, and explore the integrated development model of agriculture, culture, and tourism. A new tourism industry that links star-rated scenic spots, traditional villages, leisure farms, folk culture, and other tourism elements has also been formed in the region.
And with that, I'm closing out this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Lily Lu in Beijing. Thanks for being with us. Till next time, bye for now.